Good morning, I am Tracy Spence with your newscast. This newscast is brought to you courtesy of BioLife Energy Systems. Come join the living. Call them at 800-875-5433. USA Credit Repair, the key to beautiful credit. You may call them at 800-786-1330. Cruising with the Case Handler, a show on personal injury and immigration, weekdays 9:30 a.m., on Saturdays 7 p.m. and 12 noon on Sundays. And Supreme Power Homes. Call them at 800-493-9002. Now for the news in details. A recommendation has been made for the Ministry of Health to collect samples from persons who visited Jamaica from the United Kingdom within the last 4 weeks to be tested for the highly contagious variant of COVID-19. It comes after confirmation that 40 travelers on the last British flight to the island tested positive for the new variant of COVID-19. Opposition spokesman on health, Dr. Maurice Guy, says swift contact tracing must also be undertaken by the ministry to prevent a spike of the new variant. The opposition spokesperson on health also said that a greater emphasis must now be placed on informing the public about the new contagious variant. However, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says there is no evidence to suggest that the new strain of the highly contagious variant of COVID-19 is present within the Jamaican population, but he's not ruling out that possibility. Cayman Islands Premier Alan McLaughlin has announced that the British Overseas Territory will be reopening its borders to tourists in March. The Premier in his New Year's message said that with the expected arrival of coronavirus vaccines this week, the country's most vulnerable will be protected, and based on this, the borders can reopen in the coming months. He, however, stated that all visitors must be vaccinated and provide a negative COVID-19 test or they will be required to quarantine. The Premier noted that availability of vaccine is the safest way to open up the country and the economy more broadly. He said the first shipments of vaccines will arrive in early January and they will roll out a national plan. The first batch of Pfizer BioNTech vaccines are scheduled to arrive on board a British Airways flight on Tuesday, and according to Governor Martin Hooper, there will be enough doses to inoculate 5,000 people. Barbados has announced that the face-to-face services at churches, mosques, and other places of worship across the island will be discontinued with immediate effect. The announcement was made on Saturday following a meeting of the representatives from the Barbados Evangelical Association (BEA), the Barbados Christian Council (BXC), and the Barbados Muslim Association (BMA) with Prime Minister Mia Mottley. The representatives said the decision was made out of an abundance of caution and in the interest of protecting the health of the country. The leadership of the three organizations have now called on heads of churches, mosques, and other places of worship to revert to virtual services where possible, which would allow members to engage in group interaction without being exposed to contracting COVID-19. In sports this morning, President of the Jamaica Association of Sports Medicine, Dr. Kevin Gwynne Jones, has warned against the long-term effects contracting COVID-19 can have on the nation's sportsmen and women. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, a number of high-level sportsmen and women who have contracted the virus have successfully returned to competition. But the potential long-term effects of the virus on athletes shouldn't be overlooked, according to Dr. Jones. In the meantime, with plans afoot to stage the ISA Boys and Girls Athletics Championships this year, Dr. Jones has joined other stakeholders in advising coaches not to burden their charges too much, especially with the more senior ones at a higher risk of injury. And that is it for the news. This newscast came to you courtesy of BioLife Energy Systems. Come join the living. Call them at 800-875-5433. USA Credit Repair, the key to beautiful credit. You may call them at 800-786-1330. Cruising with the Case Handler, a show on personal injury and immigration, weekdays 9:30 a.m., on Saturdays 7 p.m. and 12 noon on Sundays. And the Supreme Power Homes, call them at 800-493-9002. On behalf of the news and production team, I'm Tracy Spence. To have a good morning.